What is money? Such an easy question, but it's still so hard to answer because it's not always so straightforward. I mean, money is what we work for every day at our jobs. Money is what we save in our bank accounts. But what is this money that we're earning and we're saving? This $100 bill is a physical representation of value. This is what we call money. In order for me to have this $100 bill in my possession, either I gotta steal it from you, which is illegal, or I gotta earn this money, which means I have to provide $100 worth of value to the world, and in exchange for the value that I provide, I earn this $100. Now, the interesting thing is this $100 does not have a set amount of value because this $100 is something that we call fiat currency. If I go out and I create $100 worth of value, I earn this $100. But in order to create this $100, it doesn't take $100 worth of labor or $100 worth of work. I mean, it costs like 12 cents for the Federal Reserve Bank and the government to print this $100 bill. So it costs almost nothing to create this $100, but for me to earn this $100 and put it in my pocket, I have to create $100 worth of value. This is where there's a discrepancy, and this is why this is called a fiat currency, because this $100 is what the government has created and calls our currency, so this we can use as a tool to buy and sell things. Back in the day, before 1971, our dollars used to be backed by gold. So gold is a tangible commodity. It takes physical effort and labor to mine an ounce of gold, and so it was kind of like a very easy thing to benchmark value because you'd go out and you go to your job and you create value and you earn $100. But it also takes effort and time and labor to mine an ounce of gold, which is what the $100 is. So back in the day when you used to go to work to earn money, you knew that you were earning a certain amount of gold. That's what you were kind of benchmarking the value that you created by, because you would go to work and create this value at your job, and that would be valued based on the amount of gold that essentially you earned. And then instead of you actually physically carrying pieces of gold in your pocket, you could just carry these physical dollars, which was a representation of how much gold you were entitled to. So you went to work and you created this value, and you're entitled to physical value, which was the value that it took to create and mine physical gold. In the 1970s, our dollar was taken off of the gold standard, which allows for the government and the Federal Reserve Bank to more easily create this money, which allows more manipulation of our dollars. That's when our money became fiat currency, because our dollars are not backed by something tangible or an actual commodity. Our dollars are just backed by a promise by the United States government that our dollars have value. So our dollars are just paper, but is backed by the full support and the full faith of the United States government. Lucky for us, the United States government is the most powerful government in the world with a very strong military presence and the strongest economy in the world. However, this paper money makes the value that you create at your job more manipulatable, because you might create $100 worth of value today. And now you take this value that you created, you worked for 5 hours at your job, you earned $100, and now you have this money, and now you take this value, because this money is a physical representation of the work that you did, you take this value and you put it in the bank. Now, if you let this money sit in the bank, what's going to happen? The value of this $100 is going to drop, because as more money is printed, because that's what happens when this money is paper, you can print more and more money. As more money is printed, the value of each dollar that you have goes down. That's why life keeps getting more expensive. Your rent keeps going up, your groceries keep going up, your medical bills keep going up because of inflation. That's what happens when more money is printed. The value of your dollars go down, the price of things go up. So you worked hard to create this $100 worth of value today, but this value that you created can easily be manipulated because it's just paper. So the money that we work so hard to earn and save and invest is just paper. We're working really hard to earn these paper dollars, which is a physical representation of the amount of value that we created today. But this is where you have to decide, what do you do with the money that you earn? Do you save it? Do you invest it? Or do you spend it? Because when you spend it, you are spending the value that you earned today to buy something, a car, clothes, a vacation, whatever. When you save it, you are using this money and putting it in the bank. That way you can hopefully have this value later on if you ever need it. And when you invest it, you are using your money to own something hopefully tangible, maybe a real estate investment or gold, or maybe stocks, a paper investment, because these are things that are supposed to go up and create more value for you. So now you understand that the money that you're working so hard to earn and save and invest is just paper. Now, before I get into the next thing, I want to really quickly go over the difference between an asset and a liability, because this will help you understand how our economic system works, especially when it comes to spending money. So when you earn this money from your job, you have the ability to spend this money on either assets or liabilities. Assets are things that make you money. So when you buy an asset, this is things like a stock or a real estate investment or a business. You are spending your money in something for the sole purpose of making money. So if you spend your money to buy a business, not spending the money at a business, you're spending your money to buy a business. Now you're using your money to make you money, because when you buy a business, the goal is to make some more money because the business will make money. When you use your money to buy real estate as an investment, you are using your money to create a new income stream, because people will live in this property, they'll pay you rent, and now you have this asset that will hopefully go up in value. And when you invest your money in the stock market, now you're again investing in companies which will hopefully make you more money. So when you invest your money in assets, the whole goal is to invest your money into things that produce value, real estate, companies, whatever. That way you can make more money. Liabilities, on the other hand, are things that you spend your money on that take money away from you. This would be spending money on things like clothes and shoes and cars and vacations. These are things that are nice, and these are things that you need, but these are things that don't make you any money. So when you go and you buy yourself a really nice wardrobe, you buy yourself a really nice dinner, these are things that help support the economy because you're giving money to other businesses, but they don't make you any more money. So the thing that I'm going to be focusing mainly on in this video are liabilities, because when it comes to economic growth, it's all about people spending money at businesses. So you need to understand that this is what we're going to be talking about in this video. If you want to learn more about investing your money in assets and building this wealth, I already talked about that in different videos on our YouTube channel. And if you want to learn more about that, I will link a video for you in the description below. Moving on to spending money, consumerism. Now, I know consumerism has kind of a negative connotation, but for the purposes of this video, when I say consumerism, I'm just talking about spending your money, because money only has value when you spend it or when you use it. Like if I earn this $100 and it just sits there and I leave it on my desk and I leave it there until I die, this $100 doesn't really provide any value to anyone because it's just sitting there. Money only has value if you use it. Now, if I take this $100 and I go out and I buy myself a nice dinner, it provided me with value because it got me some nice food, hopefully some extra guac as well. But it also made the restaurant owner some money, plus the waiter or waitress and whatever tips I give them. So it is providing value to somebody else and it's providing value to me. Or if I take this $100 and I go out and I invest it somewhere in the stock market or whatever, it's still providing me more value because now I'm using this money and I'm turning it into an asset, which is something that will hopefully make me more money. So money only has value when you use it, and I'm going to be talking about now, how do you spend this money? The whole idea about consumerism in our economy is when you make more money, you have more money, and when you have more money, you can spend more money. Now, the more money you spend, the more money somebody else makes. Like if I spend $100 at a restaurant, that restaurant made $100. If I go out to a nicer restaurant and I spend $1,000, now this new restaurant made $1,000. So the more money I spend, the more money someone else makes. The more money you spend, the more money the economy makes. And so the more money that people spend in our economy, then the more money our economy is generating, which can spur and incentivize more growth. Because if I run a restaurant and I'm making a huge profit and I'm making all this money, now I have more money to invest in growth. I can open up another restaurant, I can expand my restaurant, I can create new food options, I can hire more employees, and now I can grow my company. If my restaurant isn't making any money because you're not spending money in my restaurant, now I don't have the money to grow. I don't have the money to keep paying my employees, so maybe I have to fire people, maybe I have to downsize, I have to find a smaller restaurant, and maybe I'll have to shut down my business because I'm not making any money. But if people are spending money, if you're spending money at my restaurant and people are spending money at other businesses, then businesses make more money. When they have more money, then they have the ability to invest in growth, which means they can open up new businesses, new stores, new offices, which means more people can be hired. And when more people are hired, now you have more people who have money, When you have more people who have money, now more people have money that they can spend. Now more people have money to buy homes, more people have money to buy cars, more people have money to go on vacations, and the more money that people spend, the more our economy grows. Now, when it comes to consumerism, the way our society works, hate it or love it, is the more value that you provide to the world, the more money that you make. Like I was mentioning just a minute ago, if you are a doctor, you provide more value to the world because you have a special skill that most people cannot provide, that most people do not have, and so you can charge more money per hour as compared to somebody who's flipping burgers at McDonald's. You're not providing as much value, which is why you don't make as much money as a doctor does. Now, this also comes to product creation and value creation, because if you can create a product that everybody wants, you will be able to make more money, because we live in a society where people don't put a gun to your head telling you to buy an iPhone. If you want to go and buy an iPhone, that is by your choice. And so if everybody is buying an iPhone, now the Apple company gets to make more money, and when they make more money, they get to choose how they want to use this money and how they want to invest this money and how many employees they want to hire and grow. But at the end of the day, it's consumer driven. It's the consumer that gets to decide, because if people stop buying iPhones, then Apple is going to change their business or they're going to go out of business. I mean, it's like people hating Walmart. People hate Walmart for one reason or another, but if you don't shop at Walmart and then you start shopping at Whole Foods instead, then you're going to end up paying a whole lot more money for your groceries, because Walmart provides a different value than Whole Foods does. And so every company provides a different value. Like Walmart is the place to go to get cheap groceries. Whole Foods is the place to go to buy really expensive avocados. In general, when it comes to value, there are 4 different types of value creations out there. So when companies try to create products or entrepreneurs try to create value and create a new company, there's 4 different areas of value that you typically see created. One is your necessities. These are the things that we need to survive. So food, water, shelter, these are the things that we need in order to continue living our general lives. So this does not include your iPhone, because if you didn't have an iPhone, you technically shouldn't die. I know some people might, but you should not die if you don't have an iPhone. So your necessities are things like food, water, shelter, things that we need in order to survive. Things that make your life easier are now your necessities that are more kind of transformed to make your life easier. So this would be a nicer home. So now instead of just a place that gives you a roof over your head, now we're talking about a mansion, or we're talking about better bottled water. People who are paying $6 for a bottle of water are to make your life easier because it's supposed to be a better product, whatever. And then we have things like the iPhone, because it's supposed to make your life easier as opposed to maybe a flip phone or a nice laptop. Once we get past the necessities, now we're talking about things that we can use to improve our lives. This can be products, like I just talked about, or it can be services. Housekeepers, people who mow your lawn, people who get your groceries for you, people who clean your house, just services or things that make your life a little bit easier. Then we have the things that make your life a little bit cheaper. So these are things like the Walmarts. Walmart is your affordable way to shop. You're not going to get the same experience at Walmart as you are at Gucci, because they cater to different people and they have different values that they provide. Walmart's job is to give you things at a cheaper price. Gucci's job is to give you something that's completely overpriced, and because they're making more money, they can give you a better service. And then last but not least, we have everything else. This is typically only reserved when you have kind of a society that's more developed and that's kind of more wealthy, because these are the things that you don't need to survive. These are things that are not going to make your life easier. They're not making your life cheaper. This is just everything else that doesn't really provide any real value to your survival. It's just something there because there's money for it. You could think of this kind of like paying a lot of money for Pokemon cards. Pokemon cards don't make your life easier. They don't make your life cheaper. You don't need Pokemon cards to survive. But we're living in a society where we have enough wealth to be able to spend money on things like Pokemon cards. This is a luxury that you see in first world countries, not typically in third world countries where people are struggling here with the necessities. But when you have this wealth, you have this money in your society, then you can create this whole new value of things that people don't even need, but it's just something that you can create value behind. So you're going to work every single day to make this money, the paper money, the fiat currency that I just talked about. And now when you have this money, which is a representation of how much value that you create, you can spend this money in order to give more value to yourself. This could include things that you need in order to survive, things that can make your life easier, things that can make your life cheaper, and everything else. The more money you have, the more money that you can spend, and the more money that you spend, the more money that somebody else makes, We live in a consumerism society where the more money you make, the more money you have, and the more money you have, the more money you spend. Now, the more money you spend, the more money that somebody else makes, and the more our economy grows, because now businesses will have more money to invest in growth. And as businesses grow and our economy grows, now people will have more jobs. And as people have more jobs, now this whole cycle continues, because then we have more people who have income streams, more people who have money to spend. And as more people have money to spend, more people can spend more money, which fuels the growth of our economy.